AG's assistance for him to meet his bail conditions. Jakpa, who was under cross-examination by the prosecution, told the court although he had met Godfred Yeboah-Dame in Justice Kulendi's residence on several occasions, they had never interacted until his initial encounter with him on phone over his bail conditions.
According to Richard Jakpa, his first time of interacting with the Attorney General was when his cousin, Justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Yoni Kulendi, had connected them via a phone call over his bail conditions. The accused narrated in court that he was at the ministry's police station being processed by an official of Yoko for detention because although he had met his bail conditions, the court wanted officials from the Land Commission to evaluate the landed property he sought to use as a surety before releasing him on bail. Mr. Jakpa said realizing he was going to be on remand for a while longer, he called his cousin, the Supreme Court judge, to intervene through the Attorney General. He further narrated that his cousin, who was then on the bench, called the Attorney General and he spoke directly to the AG on what seemed like a conference call about his difficulty. When Yvonne Obobisa Atakra, the Director of Public Prosecution, who was then prosecuting the accused person, put it to him that he had never spoken to the AG directly on the matter, Mr. Jakpa denied the claim by the DPP and answered that he did because his phone was then on loudspeaker and he wanted the AG to talk to the Yoko official, One Roxen, but the AG was quick to shut him down because he didn't want the Yoko official to know he was on the phone with him. The DPP then asked a question about the AG answering only 2 out of 68 WhatsApp messages from Richard Jakpa. The third accused responded that he did not have the number of messages off the top of his head. However, the AG answered some of his questions verbally in Justice Yoni Kulendi's residence when they met there. Asked about why he decided to exclude the minority leaders' exhibits, that he was the first to contact the AG and subsequently asked for a meeting, Richard Jakpa simply replied that he only gave relevant information that would help his case, and if the AG had any information to counter his claims, he should make some available to the court. In further cross-examination, he denied claims of being sacked from the Ghana Armed Forces on reasons of misconduct and also failing his promotional exams on 5 occasions. According to the accused, his release from the military was as a result of victimization due to his family background and also of his attachment to the late former president Jerry John Rawlings, who had ordered that he be posted to the RECC unit of the army after he emerged as the best from his group of military trainees. Per his account, senior officers were hostile to him because his father, at the time, helped release Jerry John Rawlings from prison, and so they thought he was sent to spy on them. Richard Jakpa told the court his seniors had found all means to have him removed from the military after the MPP won elections under the first term of former President Kufuor.
Away from the courts, Ghana sealed a deal with the Touchstone Capital UIC consortium for the development and takeoff of the petroleum hub project at Jomoro in the western region. The $60 billion project involves the construction of key facilities such as petrochemical plants, storage facilities, and refineries, among others. This agreement came into effect on Tuesday in Accra, with the initialing between key stakeholders for Phase 1 of the project.
Development of Phase 1 of the Petroleum Hub project comes at a cost of $12 billion, comprising a 300,000 barrel per day capacity refinery, petrochemical plant, storage tank, jetty and port infrastructure. Also would be the construction of ancillary infrastructure to include power plants, pipelines and cutting-edge laboratory for product testing. Seen as an energy-deficient continent, building Africa's first petroleum and petrochemicals hub is an advantage to addressing her energy needs and contributes to the continent's energy security. Other benefits to be derived from the petrochemical plants are fertilizers, lubricants, cosmetics, and other products.
It is to help Ghana sustainably explore her numerous hydrocarbon deposits for jobs, energy, revenue, and further integration with the global economy and development without turning a blind eye on the ongoing global energy transition effort and climate change challenges and difficulties.
Jomoro is allocating a 20,000-acre land to house the project, which the president of the Western Regional House of Chiefs, Aulai Ano Ajayi, has pledged his full support all the way through to the successful end of the project.
And we pray that this petroleum hub project, the outcome should reflect on the good people of Ghana.
Sector Minister Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh called for accountability, environmental sustainability, and efficiency from all parties.
But I do know that the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation will take steps to make sure that they develop the whole thing together with the experts around the climate change issues, so that we don't get people to come and tell us we can't exploit our oil. Our oil definitely would exploit.
The country stands to increase her GDP by 70% upon completion of the entire project, generate employment in the value chain, and boost her tourism sector. Clara Mlanu, GBC News, Accra.
Let's look at road infrastructure now. Government has engaged local contractors to repair the peripherals of the 3-tier Nungwa-Barre interchange and about 19 kilometers of town roads. The Minister for Roads and Highways, Mr. Francis Asensio-Boakye, said the arrangement is to remove the troubles people go through using the enclave. The minister was at the Nungwa-Barre project yesterday and mentioned the government's plan.
The minister, Mr. Francis Asensio-Boakye, said the remedial work has been necessitated by distractions. The main construction of the 3-tier interchange at the Nungwa barrier was created for road users, thus government's response to the plight of both commuters and drivers. Mr. Asensio-Boakye took time to explain to some residents who approached him upon arrival to raise concerns over their plight.
Projects are making a Kojisika Efra Buchina, Yade near the and I'm one Zoom saying, I buy IMF in Gita Hudi, Tino, a Koba say, contractors no, and a more contractors can say, I'm going to check a crack of Pimsa buying IMF negotiate here, and San Masaba. One Zoom saying a project we are, my real project we are, Habay for Pie, a baby, Mamma, be at your buying dream.
Phase 1 of the project is a 14-kilometer stretch from the Black Star Square to Boade in Nungwa, with a 17-kilometer phase 2 from that location to Tema Community 3, involving the Nungwa Barrier interchange.
This project was to have been completed by February 2023. Now I've come here because we realize that we need to do certain remedial works here, whilst we are waiting for our negotiations with the IMF and the Parish Club to conclude, so that the main contractors can come back to site.
Government, through the Roads Ministry, has also tasked the local contractor to also asphalt 19 kilometers of Nungwa inner roads as part of government's response to create convenience for residents. The interchange is at about 90% complete, expected to be fully handed over after government's new arrangement with the external creditors is sealed.
More road issues. The National Road Safety Authority is embarking on an electronic registration of commercial vehicles to curb carnage on the roads and enhance passenger safety. The cashless system, known as the Transport Ghana Digital, will see to the collection of passenger data or details before boarding. Devices would also be installed in long-distance bound vehicles to record driver behavior on the road. When fully operational, drivers without the National Road Safety Authority license and roadworthy certificate cannot ply the road in the country.
We have now transformed the entire transport system A new digitization framework has been designed. We are deploying currently on a pilot basis. And what we're doing is that before we take control, we are registering all transport operations or services. We are registering the GPRTUs and the Protoas and all of them so that they come under our regulatory framework. We are not doing it manual. So we call it e-registration. Now, once you register with us, there are procedures you have to go through. You can also not operate without having a license from the National Road Safety Authority. You must either belong to a union, organization, or a company. It means that you cannot operate on your own as an individual. What we're doing is that don't come registering manual. We have a link that we send to you, or you come for it, or you apply, and then you fill in the forms. The forms will automatically be loaded at our end, and then if you qualify, you automatically be given the license to operate. We are registering those that are providing commercial transport services for now. We are also moving on to institutions that operate large fleets of vehicles. For example, MDAs or MMDAs. You also need to come and register with us.
Or the police.
Or the police. All institutions in Ghana who operate with fleet of vehicles, you have to come and register with us. In the very near future, if you have not registered with the National Road Safety Authority, you cannot operate on our roads as a commercial vehicle driver or an MDA or MMDA. We will expect you to do what we called passenger manifest. Passenger manifest means that every individual who passes through your system traveling by your bus must be known. His name or her name, the age, where you are traveling to, and your next of kin, the contact of your next of kin. That means if something should happen, we should know where you belong to, your hometown and all that. So we're going to take all this data right at the terminal. Now, if we are applying this Transport Ghana project, what it means is that at any point in time where I sit as the National Road Safety Authority, I will know who boarded the bus from where and to where, her name, and even her family members, at least one person, so that if there should be any crash, we'll be able to contact that fellow and inform them of what has happened to your family member, where she's located, and then you go doing the needful. So you see, Ghana's transport system is now transforming completely. But currently, those who are traveling long distances, we are getting their data. And this data is automatic. It comes into the system of the transport operator, and then we also have the same data at the back office where we also have our systems and monitoring. And that is not the only one. We are
Away from road issues, provisional data from the Ghana Statistical Service show that Ghana's GDP grew 4.7% in the first quarter of the year, compared to 3.8% in the same quarter last year. GDP growth rate without oil and gas for the first quarter of 2024 is 4.2%, which compares to the same period in 2023 with a growth rate of 4.4%. The industry sector recorded the highest growth of 6.8%, followed by the agriculture sector at 4.1%. And the service sector 3.3%.
Despite the growth in the mining and quarrying subsectors in the first quarter, the services sector continues to be the largest of the Ghanaian economy in the period under review, with a share of 45.6% of GDP at basic prices. The GDP share of industry and agriculture were 30.6% and 23.8% respectively. The drivers of growth in Q1 2024 include mining and quarrying, which grew at 12.9% and contributed 1.48% to the overall growth. Information and communication grew at 17.9% and contributed 1.01% to the overall growth. The crop subsector expanded 4.3% and contributed 0.74% to growth. Construction, on the other hand, went up 8.2% with a contribution of 0.51%. Accommodation and food service activities grew 9.4% with a contribution of 0.36%. 6 subsectors led to health and social work contracted in the first quarter of the year. The electricity space declined by negative 7.5%, public administration, defense, social security by negative 5.3%, education by negative 4.9%, while other personal service activities went down by negative 2.9%.
On finances, the Bank of Ghana on June 14th justified its decision to revoke the license of GN Bank, insisting that the action was due to significant regulatory breaches. The central bank maintains the GN Bank failed to comply with critical financial regulations and banking standards, threatening its operational stability. Referring to a statement issued in August 2019 detailing reasons for the revocation, the central bank said that GN Bank fell short of capital adequacy, liquidity, governance and risk management requirements. A statement released by the group, however, argued in a release on Sunday that the Bank of Ghana's declaration of insolvency for GN Savings was based on wildly inaccurate information and demanded a restoration and upgrade of GN Savings license. It stated that the contention began when the Bank of Ghana cited a lack of sufficient funds as a reason for GN Savings insolvency. Group Ndum refuted this, stating that GN Savings had more than 30.33 million Ghana cedis Bank of Ghana relied upon to make its decision. It asserted that GN Savings was compliant with all Bank of Ghana regulations and had even submitted a detailed report in June 2019 demonstrating positive business progress. Group Ndum also highlighted that the government of Ghana and its agencies owed Group Ndum companies over 7.1 billion Ghana cedis. Let's take it to the foreign front now. Kenya's government has scrapped some proposed taxes in this year's controversial finance bill, including a 16% levy on bread after a public outcry. The announcement by MPs came as police fired tear gas and used water cannon to try to disperse angry protesters in the capital, Nairobi. Police have arrested several people accused of organizing the demonstrations.
Dozens of people have been arrested, and lawyers earlier joined chanting crowds at the city's main police station to demand that detainees be freed. Since coming to office in 2022, President William Ruto has introduced several new and unpopular taxes with the aim of eliminating the country's national debt of nearly $80 billion. But critics of the latest proposals fear they will stifle economic growth and lead to job losses. Some of the protesters marching through the capital called on the president to resign. The U-turn over the new finance bill was announced by Kuria Kimiani, chairman of the Parliamentary Finance Committee, at a press briefing attended by President William Ruto as well as other lawmakers in the ruling coalition. Other proposed taxes that have been asked include ones on cooking oil, mobile money services and on motor vehicles, which critics said would have also hit the insurance industry. Over the last 2 years, taxes on salaries, fuel and on gross sales have been hiked.
And President Joe Biden is set to announce a new policy that will protect hundreds of thousands of undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens from deportation. The action will apply to those who have been in the country for at least 10 years and will allow them to work in the U.S. legally.
The most significant relief program for undocumented migrants already in the U.S. since the Obama administration announced the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA, in 2012. The White House believes more than 500,000 spouses of U.S. citizens will benefit, in addition to 50,000 young people under 21 whose parent is married to an American citizen. Earlier in June, Mr. Biden vowed to make the U.S. immigration system fair and just. Polls show that immigration is a primary concern for many voters ahead of the presidential election this November. The announcement comes ahead of an event on Tuesday marking the 12th anniversary of the DACA program, which shielded over 530,000 migrants who came to the U.S. as children. According to administration officials, only undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens who have lived in the country for 10 years and have been married as of 17th June would qualify. Those who qualify will have 3 years to apply for permanent residency and will be eligible for a 3-year work permit. The application process is likely to be open by the end of summer.
Let's now bring you Wednesday's weather forecast. Time for farmers and those who are into bread making. I believe Felicity Ahafionyo joins us on the phone. Good morning, Felicity. Hope you're well. How is our weather looking like? Will it fare well for the farmers?
Good morning, Multity. Yes, today is a good news for farmers, especially over the north.
Right.
They've been looking for rain for some time now, but today they are having a rain. Storm is moving over their area. So those in the upper east, upper west, northern region, Savannah, and part of the transition are in rain this morning as we speak. We expect the conditions to continue till in the afternoon, where it will leave behind just cloudiness, then later some brief sunny spells. For the southern sector, those of us in Greater Accra, central and western region, this morning, some areas will have cloudiness, then some will have partly cloudy. We expect the sun to also smile on us today over the coastal strip and part of the middle sector. We are having a slim chance of some light rain or slight rain later in the day, that's late afternoon into the evening hours. Temperatures will be warm across the coastal strip, but then a bit mild over the north. We expect it around 31 over Greater Accra, central and western region. Those in Ashanti, Eastern and Volta, we expect them to record 33. For the north, they also record between 30 and 34 degrees Celsius. For the fisher folks, the state of the sea is expected to be rough, so we expect them to be careful. On the Volta Lake, those in OT regions, because of the storm, it's not advisable to be there now, but later in the day they can. Those over the Volta side, they can do fishing activities, but late afternoon into the evening hours, we are anticipating some localized development. So they should watch, and we will be updating them with our marine forecast from the Marine Forecast Day.
Thank you so much, Felicity Ahafionyo. Appreciative of the update. And for the farmers in the north, you can smile. There's a rainstorm moving towards there. Cloudy weather conditions and some sun will also smile in the southern part of Ghana. Let's now bring you the Lotto numbers for today. Away from the weather, Alpha Lotto winning numbers. Delta Tuesday, 3333, 7373, 6767. 5959 and 5858. Again, the winning numbers are 3333, 7373, 6767, 5959 and 5858. That's it for the news. You can log on to our website, gbcghanaonline.com, for more news details. I am Multity Saida Sadiq. My costume is by No Rush Collection. There's a lot on the show to expect. There's health, there's entertainment, where Camido is coming, there's sports as well. Stay with us.
Live from GBC Studio One, this is The Breakfast Show.